Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got Craig and Nedum here in the studio. Welcome Frank as well. Gab, you've kind of got the vibe today of someone who's been kicked out of the house and it's like staying on someone's couch.
No, actually, we're remodeling currently. So various rooms in the house are being painted. My this is my office. It serves as my studio as well, where you normally see me would be just over there behind me. The thing is, I had to unplug the machine and clear the whole room. I'm trying to plug it back in. I just haven't the courage to tell anybody that I had unplugged the precious machine that allows me to come to you and indeed around the world. So I need to summon up the courage to try to do that and run a test. So please don't tell anybody.
Don't worry, your secret is very much safe with us.
Is that the fantastic machine that Frank's using that freezes?
The glow point.
Yeah, that frozen. Although Frank's is normally a little more reliable, isn't it, to be fair, than others. Don's is
I'll tell you what.
Craig, how is having
Nedum knocks out of this dancing competition first?
Craig, how is having Nedum in the studio?
Nice.
Yeah?
Nice, yeah. Nothing's happened today.
It's not Craig's to answer. It's not asking.
Oh, it's been nice, hasn't it, Craig? It's been nice.
Well, it's
Everything's fine, yes?
Yeah. It's all good.
Would it be any different?
I don't know. I know you like being here because you don't have the delay.
Good, yeah, because usually you get so much grief from him, and when there's a 1 second delay, you can't really chime in too much. But
it is. You know, I used to do it years ago.
Yes.
That long ago, it was called press pass.
Yeah, back in the day.
Which Gab's been doing for years from the camera as well. And it is a little bit more awkward because you just don't know. So it is better.
Frank, you prefer being here? I prefer you being here because you buy me dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Only for that, and not for the 1 second delay and the fact that I understand you better live. But it's just for the dinner.
Gab, you weren't with us for the Manchester City Arsenal discussion. Let me throw a couple of these to you. Do you think Arteta genuinely believes Kai Havertz is good enough because he produces from time to time, even though it's clear he can't produce when it matters most?
Look, I think the question is, do we want just a goal-scoring center forward, or do we want somebody who brings all these other things to the table? I am team Kai Havertz. I've said this all along.
No. This isn't whether you're. Do you think Arteta knows in his gut that he's not the right man for the job? Which I suppose could be answered by the fact he does know, because otherwise, why would you throw money at Ollie Watkins in the last week of the transfer window?
You mean, has he changed his mind? I think he just wants another option, frankly. He let Eddie Nketiah go. But I think in his mind, Kai Havertz is the guy playing up front for Arsenal. And my understanding is he didn't throw quite as much money at Watkins as Aston Villa said that they received from Arsenal in terms of an offer. So, no, I think he realizes he would like to get another option. Havertz has played almost every minute of every game this season. So you need another option. But I think, big game on the line. With all due respect, we're talking Ollie Watkins here. You're not dropping Kai Havertz for Ollie Watkins, I think, if you're Mikel Arteta.
Ooh, Gab, that's a big take, isn't it?
Hot take.
No, but sorry, guys. You know that this is the case. They've signed Zubimendi for next year. I know this idea, Havertz can play in midfield. Yeah, sure, he can play in midfield. But you signed Zubimendi for next season, right?
No, I'm not talking about Zubimendi. I'm talking about the fact that you've sat there and said, pretty much, without any doubt, Havertz is starting even if you've got Ollie Watkins within the squad, which I think is a take that would very much go against the grain.
Well, the grain of people who dislike Kai Havertz or just judge him based on the number of goals he scores. Like, give me a fit Bukayo Saka, right? Havertz was there all of last season. Did Arsenal have trouble scoring goals last season? No. We want to talk about teams that have trouble scoring goals. Let's talk about Manchester United.
Strays again.
Wow. Would you like to add?
No, I'm all good, thank you.
You can interact, it's fine. That's all right. Craig, would you like to interact? Wow, okay. Are they going to sign Matthias Tell, Gab, in the next 24 hours? Arsenal or anyone, actually?
His agents are furiously punting him all around Europe, but it's one of those things where they're talking 50 million for a guy who hardly plays, a guy where you're not sure if he's a winger or he's a forward. Jules, who's, of course, because the guy's Paris born and bred, Jules knows everything about him, insists, no, his best position is second forward. And I'm like, okay, fine. So if I'm his agent, go find me a team that plays true up front. Tell you what, there aren't many in Europe. So my guess is they're really agitating, but nobody's going to stump up that money if that's what Bayern actually want.
Frank, considering the result at the Emirates today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do Arsenal need to sign a forward player? They got 5, obviously, today.
Well, that's a tricky question, but I would say still, because we are questioning the strikers' positioning. That's the only thing you are questioning about Arsenal. So I would say still 7 and 8 out of 10.
There you go. Frank, do you think Haaland is staying humble?
Yes, I think he's a good guy. I really think he's a good guy. He's a Scandinavian guy. He has pride. He's a Viking, and I totally get along with it. And I have no issues whatsoever with Erling Haaland. I love him, and he has a right to defend himself.
Oh, there we are. Beautiful. These Arsenal City teams seem to strongly dislike each other. Did you guys have another club which you strongly disliked? When you were playing for Celtic, did you dislike Rangers?
No, and I was good, still am, with a lot of the guys because we were in the Scotland team together.
Right.
You know, they were good, a really good bunch, and we all got on pretty well. But when it was an Old Firm game, the gloves were absolutely off.
So it was never an issue because you hear about the old England players, how there was a Liverpool clique and a Manchester United clique and a Chelsea clique, and that was a big issue. Like there was never kind of like Rangers are here, Celtic are here, and no one talked.
I know they used, you know, we'd hang about with your own teammates,
Right.
generally. But there was no I don't remember any animosity
Right.
between the teams. It was just the pressure of. There's no time for an animosity when you're under enough pressure as it is from your own fans trying to win and stop this Rangers team, which was a great Rangers team. Don't forget this was a team with McCoist and Gascoigne and Goff and a young Gennaro Gattuso, who was 18, just making his way in the game. He was getting some game time, so they had a lot of good players. Jonas Tern was the Swedish captain. They signed a bunch of Italians from Juventus. Sergio Perini, I think, was one of them. So there wasn't time to have animosity. You would kick lumps out of them.
Right.
You wanted to beat them. But personally, if you bumped into them in Glasgow in the bar, you'd have a beer with them.
What about you? Like, were you friends with any United players? No.
No, absolutely not, no. So I was a fan before I was a player, and
Yeah.
then being in the academy as well, playing for Man City, the team which I supported, like, I hated United so much, everything about them, all the different age groups, the senior team, you know, people wearing shirts in the street, everything. I was a psycho with it. Thankfully, I calmed down 10%
Right.
as I got older.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the thing from my perspective was back then when I was a kid, like, United didn't care about City. There were 3 years in the Premier League era where City didn't even have that derby with United because they were so bad. But as I then got older and I was playing in the first team, like, the animosity towards them was great. And in fairness, this was the same time where United weren't socialising with Liverpool, weren't socialising with Chelsea. So there was nothing with City as well. And when it was time to play, like, the gloves were off. They would usually beat us and then off they went. But that game meant everything to me and everything to all the fans at that time. And yeah, so there was a significant animosity, but it tended to be in one direction because for them it was just business as usual.
Frank, when you played for Chelsea, was there a team you hated more than any others?
No, there was nobody because, in fact, Chelsea created the new history of Chelsea. And after the 70s and the big, I think, animosity with Leeds and rivalry with some other teams in London, Chelsea went through a time of not too many results. So we had to recreate the history, therefore starting to hate some other teams and everything. But yeah, we didn't like playing for Manchester United against Manchester United because Manchester United at the time were so good, and that was the same with Arsenal. So it's just you hate them because they are successful. But we had to create that and win trophies in order to create animosity. But I always missed the big animosity. It was like Marseille with Paris Saint-Germain. That was crazy. Even with the national team, the guys, they couldn't stand each other. His wife friends didn't get any result in the late 80s and beginning of 90s. But I always missed that kind of animosity, and that was the best.
I think that's the thing as well, because when we talk about this City and Arsenal one, this is over the last, say, 3 years, and what they had in common, they've both been going for the league title. Before that, they played so many times, and, you know, it was like a toughish game, but like, it didn't really matter. I think that's the difference as well, going back to my time. Like, my City team playing against United, maybe that could help us finish mid-table, so they didn't really care too much. But yeah, this level of animosity, like, I like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it means that
as a player, it must be fun to like.
Yeah,
play
absolutely.
sort of like
It's objectively a big
It's a
game.
bit like Formula One, isn't it?
Okay.
No, that's a strange analogy.
No, I know. I like to hear the end of it.
Well, Max Verstappen
Yes.
and Lando Norris are best of mates.
Right.
Well, we have seen a fracture, possible fracture in that relationship because Lando Norris is now challenging for that Formula One title.
Right,
It's
yeah.
no different to any other sport.
It's fine when someone isn't a threat. It's
True. Yeah. When you're not a threat, it's easy to have that camaraderie. The difficult part is when it gets to a scenario where it is a threat to you and it's in your face, can you, and then certainly in Formula One, history would tell you that that has fractured a lot of friendships. But I don't think you have to take it that far in football. You can have a scenario where you're as aggressive as you are with anybody and still have a beer or whatever it is after the game.
Not Nedum. Nedum just holds a grudge. Just holds a grudge everywhere.
Forever.
That's it. That's done. Nedum, is there any chance that this City team to win any big game this season? Shouldn't Madrid be super relaxed after watching City?
It was a big game last week against Chelsea.
Chelsea are
That
terrible.
was on that initial list about a look at City's run.
No,
I'm joking, Frank.
no,
Relax. Tranquille, mon frère.
Okay, thank you.
Tranquille.
Thank you.
No, I think that somewhere along the road, they will probably win a big game. It'll probably be some scruffy performance as well. But I think it's all fair to say, like, with the predictions we saw yesterday, nobody really fancies them at this moment in time. But then maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe.
If City have a disastrous next 6 or 7 games, it's a big if, but they're playing some strong teams. Is there any chance in your mind that at some point Guardiola just says, do you know what, new contract or not?
Nah.
Or is that just not happening?
I think there'd have to be a genuine disaster in those games.
Right.
And I can't see that personally. Because for me, the game today, for example, losing in the manner that they did, you listen to the way the players are speaking and the manager's speaking, it's one of those moments where they have to come together and look at themselves and think this is beyond football itself. And if they continue to trend in the wrong direction, then maybe that's the case. But I don't expect those professionals, very significant professionals, to be like that.
Gab, before you jump in, I want to ask this question because it's relevant. Is this Pep Guardiola's last season at City, Gab?
I don't think so, but Nedum talked there about trending in the wrong direction. They've been there, they've done that, they've trended, they lost 1 million games in a row. I mean, surely that's trending in the wrong direction. I think what we know of Pat, he's kind of walked out on teams before, right? He did it twice at Barcelona when he thought it got too much. That said, I think he would feel that he's leaving City in the lurch. So unless they politely say, hey, Pep, if you would like to leave, we're okay with it, maybe he would leave in those circumstances. Or if something happens with the 115 charges or 130 charges as it is, well, he said so himself, right? He said, if we lose this case, they won't be my friends anymore. So it would have to be something like that, I think, for him to walk out. One of those scenarios, or the club saying, hey, Pep, Hugo Viana's coming in, we want a fresh start. You're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go if you don't feel like you necessarily want to be a part of it.
He might not care, but it wouldn't be I don't mean about the football. I mean, he might not care about people's perception, but it wouldn't be a good look on him.
What, when the chips are down?
That's, people would say, you've done great things, clearly. Great things. You can't take that away. This is his toughest time by a stretch.
Yep.
By a stretch. And as you said, I think if he was to do it on his own, it's all hypothetical. If he was to say, I've had enough, it's getting me down, or I haven't got the drive, or I can't motivate the players, whatever it is, the mud that would be thrown at him saying, the moment it got tough, you jump ship. And I don't think he wants that. I don't think it'll happen.
Gab, how long do you think Ruben Amorim's leash will be?
How long his leash? I think he's got. I think they're committed to this. I think letting him go would be expensive. and it really wouldn't make sense. I mean, he inherited a squad that wasn't suited to what he wanted to do. They've moved guys out. They've tried to reinvent guys in certain positions. I think he has a very long leash. I mean, I think obviously the summer is going to be big. They're going to want to address certain positions, and then they'll take stock later. Now, if he continues to lose games, then it's a little bit different. If they ever get into threat of relegation or whatever, but we're nowhere near that. I genuinely think between now and the end of the season, and you saw maybe even a little glimpse of it today, he's going to put all his chips in the FA Cup and the Europa League basket. He knows that's the best route back into Europe for the club, and maybe even just use the Premier League as a testing ground, because let's face it, where they stand right now, they're not going down, and they're not going to finish in Europe in the Premier League. Both scenarios highly unlikely. So it's kind of like, what's the point? Focus on the competitions you can win and use the Premier League to continue building the kind of football that you want to play.
Well, it didn't work today. He didn't build anything today, but rubbish, Gab.
Well, no, but he found out that maybe Kobbie Mainoo at center forward isn't a great idea, not something to revisit. So you can tick that off.
Oh, good. Oh, there we are. That's today's notes. Finally, Gab.
I would have thought it wouldn't have taken 90 minutes of football to realise Kobbie Mainoo is not a false number.
At least he knows now. That's good. Don't worry about the defeat against Palace. It's all right.
Leicester could beat them.
No, they won't beat them.
No, I'm not saying they will.
Leicester are terrible.
Leicester are terrible. But would you say United are a much better side than Tottenham? Leicester managed to go to Tottenham and win.
You can argue that Southampton went there and outplayed them for 80 minutes.
There is no team in the Premier League that United are safe against at this moment in time.
No, that's the world we're in. I know you're not Jules, Gab, but I'll ask you an NBA question anyway. Is there any transfer similar to what we saw today? Of course, the big trade which is grabbing all the headlines over here.
Oh, do you know what that trade is? Because I do.
Yes, I do, Gab. I just wanted to keep it generic for everyone.
You don't know, do you? It's Luka Doncic
for the Lakers.
Who goes the other way?
Say again?
AD.
Who goes the other way?
Anthony Davis has gone the other way.
Of course, yeah.
Ah, very good, very good. Sorry. You put so many traps for me in the past. I had to get one back. I'll try anyway. This kind of straight swap. No, obviously we don't have trades like this in football, but it has happened that you've had sort of player deals. Off the top of my head, I can't imagine anything on the scale. There have been big swaps, but back in the years, AC Milan and Inter Milan in the 1960s famously swapped goalkeepers, and this is at the time when they were winning European Cups. But no, on a Doncic, talking top 5 player in the world, that kind of magnitude, no.
Anything you want to add?
Well, I don't watch basketball.
There we go.
No, I have no idea.
Thought you did well there. Thought you did well there.
Do you like basketball?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I did very
So
well.
what's the equivalent? 2 goalkeepers in the 1960s?
I guess so, yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yep.
Frank, you've got a week of rehearsing now. Don't get stressed about it. It'll drop you down on your head like you did on Friday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Don't
Take care,
freeze like
guys.
you're into this.
Deadline day
Don't
is
worry.
tomorrow.
Oh, thank God I'm off.
Yes,
There's nothing happening.
I'm sure that's strategic. Marcus Rashford, by the way, official. He has moved to Aston Villa on loan until the end of the season. That is it then. That brings us to the end of today's show. Well, I hope there's more NBA talk.